Chapter 15 The Final Showdown. The two powered-up warriors were now high up in the air, both wanting to kill the other. Due to all of their powering up, the sky became very cloudy, and soon enough it started to rain. Now the rain was starting to pour down on Ponyville, making the battle seem all the more intense. Within a second, the Super Saiyan 2 appeared right in front of his opponent and punched him in the gut, making him bend over in pain. That was followed by an elbow to his face, and then a knee to his foe's chin. As the opponent was flying, Gohan charged at him and smacked his face with the back of his hand. He grinned as his enemy went skidding across the ground and into the mayor's office. The legendary Saiyan burst from the building and set his sights on his opponent. With a roar, he threw a punch, but to his anger, he missed entirely. Broly started throwing blows like a madman. Yet, even with the speed and power, he couldn't land a hit. After throwing a kick, he noticed his foe was gone. He searched around for him, but didn't see him.
"Where did you go, you coward?"
the evil Saiyan snarled. In a matter of seconds, Gohan was once again in range of his foe. The Super Saiyan flew forward with great speed, catching his opponent off guard. Using the element of surprise, he gave the evil Saiyan a roundhouse kick to the side of his head. The hit made his opponent's head tilt heavily to the side. That kick was followed by a swift punch to the gut, and then an elbow to the back of the head. His attack forced his enemy down to the ground hard, making a big crater in the process. He then descended down to the ground and landed softly. Beside Ever, the legendary Super Saiyan stood back up.
"I'm going to enjoy making you suffer."
Broly charged his foe and punched him in the face, sending the young Saiyan backwards a few feet. Not wasting any time, the evil Saiyan dashed towards the foe and swung his leg horizontally. Unfortunately, his kick was blocked, but before he could try again, he was kicked in his jaw. The crazed Super Saiyan recoiled in pain, but wasn't going to go down easy. He jumped into the air and fired a volley of energy balls at the young warrior, all of which hit the mark and created a huge big explosion.
"Too easy,"
he smiled his supposed victory. His smile quickly faded as he noticed the blast had no effect on his opponent. "What's wrong, Broly? I thought you were the legendary Super Saiyan." He grinned as sparks shot out of his body. Angered by the comment, Broly charged his opponent, ready to wipe that smug look off of his face. He threw a flurry of punches and kicks, but every attack he tried to land missed. His opponent was having no difficulty dodging the attacks. The more he missed, the more his anger rose, and he was quickly reaching his limit. A few moments later, the legendary Super Saiyan was socked in the cheek. The force sent him flying clear across Ponyville, and he took out a few buildings in the process. Right as Broly stopped himself from crashing into a mountain, he was hit in the back of his head, causing him to scream out in pain. He turned around only to be knee in the gut by the young Super Saiyan. Gohan grinned as he watched blood spew out of his foe's mouth. He then watched as his opponent roared, burning up his energy in the process. The young Saiyan was then caught off guard by a punch to his cheek, lashing him backwards to the sky. Before he could react, he was grabbed by the neck and dragged across the ground. They continued for a while before he was thrown into the distance, taking out several trees in the process. After a few moments, he used his ki to stop himself from his unplanned flight. Even the Super Saiyan 2 were still pretty even. I guess I'll just turn up a notch. The Half Saiyan thought to himself as he began powering up, making his aura come to life. A grin came onto his evil Saiyan's face, his aura erupted from his body.
"He may have gotten stronger, but he's still no match for me. If you get tired, then I'll be able to crush him."
And a flash of two warriors disappeared. They were now exchanging blows back and forth at great speeds. Both punches and kicks were thrown as the two battled. Neither one seemed to have an advantage over the other. Shockwaves were produced as their attacks collided, and each one sounded like thunder piercing the air. And they were moving so fast they appeared to be nothing but blurs impacting against each other. The young Saiyan was able to gain the upper hand, and he gave his foe a painful uppercut, launching him through the air at high speeds. In an instant, he moved to right above his foot, and followed up his previous attack by planting his foot onto his opponent's chest. This sent the evil Saiyan crashing down to the ground, creating a huge hole in the ground in the process. Gohan jumped back as he waited for the legendary Saiyan to get to his feet, which took him several moments to do so. He could see his foe glaring at him, but he wasn't fazed. He in turn looked at Broly with narrowed eyes, which seemed to have come with a new transformation. Broly rushed his foe and charged an energy ball in his hands, but his opponent appeared ready for the attack. When the energy orb made contact with the young fighter, it exploded. That was followed up by him firing several more energy blasts at his opponent, creating a thick cloud of dust and smoke. When the smoke finally cleared, nobody was there. A smirk came on the face of the devilish Saiyan. It appeared that he had won.
"It seems he was all barking no bite after all,"
he gloated. Then a moment later, the young Saiyan flew at his now scared opponent. Seconds later, he was directly in front of the evil Saiyan. He delivered a devastating kick to his face. The Half Saiyan stood there as he watched the evil warrior go flying in the opposite direction. He noticed that his orange shirt was completely gone, and parts of his blue shirt had been destroyed as well. He didn't really care though. All his focus was on the battle, and And even though he was on top now, he knew it wasn't over before it was over. Back in the castle, the opponents were watching with awe. Now that the two were powered up, the battle was more entertaining. Flash was still very upset, but could want to see how Gohan was doing. And of course, he was holding his own. Even though she lost everything, she still had him as a friend. And that one thought alone brought a silver light to her dark day. They all tried their best to keep up the action, but it was hard. Both fighters were fighting a rate faster than any opponent in Crusher could. I guess Broly is stronger than Bojack was, Twilight commented. Yeah, when Gohan transformed into a Super Saiyan 2, he beat Bojack easily. But now him and Broly are the same, the orange pony added. Rainbow Dash gulped. See you girls like that, maybe Broly's stronger than Gohan? She was thinking about that the whole time. What if this new enemy was a lot stronger than her friend? Two princesses said that he was a legendary Super Saiyan. I tell her that sounded terrifying even without a face to match the name. That was before she saw his face. Now she was even more freaked out than before. If Gohan lost, then they were all doomed. No way, no point stronger than Gohan, Pinky defended, ready not in agreement. Indeed, you saw what he did to Bojack and his king of pirates. I'd bet all the bets I have that Gohan wins this fight. The purple main unicorn wasn't a fighter, but she knew at first hope that their friend was indeed a skilled fighter. She also didn't want to give up hope, as that was one of the few things she had left. So she tried to remain positive. She had the thought of death cross her mind, but she didn't want that to linger any longer. Twilight shook her head. I don't know. When Gohan transformed, he beat Bojack without any effort. She paused and looked at the crystal ball. But Broly appears to be stronger and is holding his own. They watched the two warriors trade blows, creating massive struggles as their attacks met. All we can hope is that Gohan's strength can overpower Broly's, Celestia told every pony. Come on, Gohan. You can do this, the Beast of the Moon thought to herself. Gohan threw his right fist, but his foe moved out of the way. The next thing he knew, his arms were grabbed from behind, and out the corner of his eye, he could see the devilish smirk on the evil Saiyan's face. Before he could do anything, he was kneed in the back. A scream of pain escaped the young hero as his arms were pulled even further back, and the constant knees to his body didn't help anything either. It felt like his arms were going to be ripped out of their sockets. He knew he had to find a way to escape, but finding one was difficult. It then struck him. He knew what he had to do. His heart burst from his body as he began powering up, and the more he powered up, the easier it was to pull his arms free. Eventually, the young Saiyan broke free of the hold, and once he did, he turned around and kicked his foe in the jaw. The force sent his opponent soaring high into the air. That gave him the chance to recover. Gohan flew up and punched him back down to the ground. The Super Saiyan watched as the evil warrior crashed to the earth. He saw it descend onto the ground and took several deep breaths. This battle was starting to get to him, and he needed to end it soon. He waited for his opponent's surface, but nothing was happening. He went to Fesca, and to his surprise, there was nobody there. He had no idea where his opponent had gone and started surveying the area. After searching for several moments, he still couldn't find where his foe had gone. Just then, the ground started to shake, and nearly made the Half Saiyan lose his balance. A mere moment later, Broly sprung out of the ground. He caught the young warrior off guard and punched him right in the face, sending him flying. As his enemy was flying, the evil Saiyan chased after him. Broly began pummeling his opponent while he was still in the air, and after multiple blows, he grabbed him and threw him to the ground. While on the ground, the legendary Super Saiyan jumped up and landed on his foe's back, making him scream out in pain. This continued for a while, and Broly showed no signs of stopping. He was getting a lot pleasure from the pain he was inflicting. After several stomps, he stopped and picked the young Saiyan up by the leg and held him upside down.
Finished already? What a disappointment.
It took the young hero a few seconds to wake up, and by the time he did, he was kicked in his stomach. He was sent flying backwards and ended up crashing into the Ponyfield Cafe. The cafe was empty, but unfortunately for Gohan, he broke through several tables. The Half Saiyan threw the debris off of him slowly stood up, spilling some blood on the floor afterwards. This fight was taking more out of both him and Ponyfield, he noticed. 50 seconds later, his foe came flying in with an evil look on his face. He was able to dodge a punch aimed for his face, and countered by ramming his knee into his opponent's gut. He then backflipped before firing a fire of ki blasts. The fire pushed Broly out of the cafe and he went skidding across the ground. That continued for a few moments before the evil Saiyan unleashed a wave of energy, destroying the annoying blasts. He stared at the young fighter with pure hatred. Not only was his foe holding his own, he was actually winning. The legendary Super Saiyan wouldn't stand for that, and he was going to make sure that punk's death was slow and painful.
Don't thank you for one yet. You may have gotten stronger, but you're still no match for me. I am the legend Super Saiyan.
Gohan glared at him. You're nothing but a monster. His gun spark shot out of his body. You've taken hundreds of innocent lives, and I won't let you take any more. In his rage, he dashed towards the evil Saiyan and began pummeling him with punches and kicks. His onslaught rendered his foe unable to fight back. All he could do was take the hits he was receiving. The strength and power of his blows increased as he went on, and he could tell he was doing some good damage. And he wasn't going to stop until he really made the monster suffer. After being on him for several moments, Gohan gave an uppercut, sending his opponent high into the sky. That was followed by a swift kick to the stomach, making his foe spew out both blood and bile. Not a moment later, he clamped his hands together and slammed them onto his foe's back, sending Broly straight down to the ground. Once again, a crater was made by the impact. The young Saiyan simply flew down to the ground and waited for his foe to get back up. Unlike last time, the evil Saiyan was having a harder time getting to his feet. The kick he received hit his stab wound from when he was a baby, and getting hit in that spot it hurt. It didn't reopen like when Kakarot punched it, but it still hurt pretty badly. As he stood up, he saw a smirk on his foe's face, which only served to anger the evil Saiyan further. In a flash, he flew out of the crater and punched the young warrior in the gut as hard as he could, making him grit his teeth and lean over in pain. Broly then formed an energy sphere in his other hand. He brought that hand up and flung the ball into his opponent. The cloud smog appeared as Super Saiyan 2 was sent flying backwards. He kept flying before his foe appeared behind him and kicked him high in the air. The young Saiyan had only a few seconds to stop himself from going through a mountain. As he stopped himself, he turned around and caught his enemy's fist. He countered by ramming his other fist to Broly's face, putting some distance between the two. That was followed by a kick to the gut. Before the half Saiyan could follow up, he was smacked to the ground by his foe. He stopped himself from crushing the ground and barely had enough time to avoid his opponent's fist. Broly's hand buried itself within the ground where his enemy had been previously. He effortlessly pulled it free from the earth, and once he did it, he charged at his opponent. Catching his foe off guard, he drove his fist into his midsection. He then grabbed him by the shoulder and drummed his knee into his jaw. His hand clasped around the young warrior's neck, and he used his other hand to repeat a punch him all around the face. He continued that for several seconds before releasing his grip. A grin appeared on his face as he punched his foe in the gut, launching him into the ground. In his left palm, he gathered his ki, forming a green sphere in the process. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed a barrage of tiny ki spheres, all of them hitting the ground where his opponent was laying. An explosion of golden light burst from the ground, and there stood Gohan. He didn't seem too pleased with his foe, and the electricity dancing around his body only helped to accentuate his anger. In the blink of an eye, he vanished, putting himself right in front of the evil Saiyan. He instantly rammed his fist into his enemy's stomach, rendering him unable to do anything in protest. After dislodging his hand, he quickly spun around and simultaneously kicked his foe in the face. He watched as the evil Saiyan went flying, but he wouldn't give him the chance to recover. His heart flashed as he dashed over to the soaring monster. Using the back of his hand, he smacked his opponent in the face, sending him on a collision course with the ground. The young Saiyan quickly moved to where his foe was going to land, and once close enough, he threw a quick kick into the air. The evil Saiyan received a devastating kick to his back, making him fly forward and fall to the ground. He slowly got to his feet, now even angrier than before. No matter how much damage he inflicted, his foe kept getting back up. The worst of all, for how much damage he did, he received just as much, if not more, from his opponent. It then became clear that a head-on attack wouldn't work, so he opted to finish things the old-fashioned way. His aura flared as he flew high up into the air. Gohan looked up at the monster, who was grinning like a madman. He could clearly see a huge ball of green energy forming in one of his opponent's hands, and from the size of it, the young fighter could tell what he was doing. "He's trying to blow the planet up," he said to himself as the sphere grew. Everybody looked on in fear as he watched the sphere grow in size. A few minutes ago, it looked like Gohan had the upper hand and was going to win the fight. They weren't that worried at all. But now they were scared again. The opponents knew firsthand that their friend could destroy the planet if he wanted, and since Broly had the same power, he could do the same thing. "Holy moly, that's a big ball," the big pony noted. "This doesn't look good," Ramdo stated. Ready to sweat a little bit. "Oh well, I'm sure that Gohan gets too. Oh, for the last of us, God wants save us!" Every point turned around and were not all that shocked by a breakdown, especially since death was a possibility. They kept watching his Gohan just stood there in shock. He must have been scared. He must have been too scared to move. If that was the case, then Crusher was doomed. The arrow was saying some prayers, hoping to find some way out of this, but there didn't seem to be any way out. "Well, it was nice knowing you girls," the Saiyan told her friends. "Twilight, if we don't make it out of this, I want you to know. I was the one who pushed all the books in the library. It wasn't Spike." The paramedic glared at the pink pony. "That was you? I grabbed Spike for 2 weeks for that." "Every pony, look," Luna shouted, pointing at the ball. They all watched as the young Saiyan's aura flared and more electricity sparked from his body. He then moved his hands together and an energy ball of his own was forming. "Don't give up, Gohan!" Flusha yelled, making every pony turn towards her. The sharp point then shrunk down. Sorry for yelling, she apologized softly. Gohan was feeling pretty scared. His crazed opponent was planning on blowing up the planet. The young Saiyan knew that he had to put an end to the monster, but he was unsure if he could. While they were pretty even in terms of power, the half-Saiyan had taken quite a beating during the fight. And while he did some good damage, he didn't think it was enough to tip the scales in his favor. Yet he knew they had to combat Broly's attack, and he knew just the one to use. He crouched down and moved his hands to his side, making a blue ball of energy form. He was using his father's signature Kamehameha wave. It was the same attack that finished off Cell once and for all, and now was going to defeat the legendary Super Saiyan. It slowly began to increase in size. The green energy sphere kept increasing in size, to the point where it looked like a small moon. Once he was satisfied with both the power and size of it, he flung at his opponent. Roar! The giant ball of ki slowly traveled to his foe, making the entire area shake. The size of it alone was enough to swallow opponent through a hole. After a few more seconds, the young Saiyan was ready to counter. Ha! The Kamehameha wave shot up into the air, making the area around him appear blue. The attack quickly collided with the green energy ball. Upon colliding, a huge shockwave was sent out, and all opponent field began shaking violently. Entire buildings trembled as there was an earthquake happening. High-intensity winds blew out in all directions, sending anything not rooted down flying into the distance. Two Saiyans were trying to push the other's energy attack back. Gohan was pouring all of his energy into the attack, trying his hardest to win this fight. It wasn't easy, and he could feel his injuries starting to get worse. Yet, despite his pain, he ignored it. He needed to put all of his focus and power into the energy clash. Meanwhile, Broly was doing the same thing, putting everything out the power into the giant green sphere. He too was having a hard time. It was an easy pushback and equally intense blast. He could out see his aura spike upwards. He just needed to use more power. Sure, his opponent was holding his own, but that wouldn't last. Sooner or later, his foe would grow tired, and wouldn't be able to push back his attack. The two energy attacks kept growing in size as more energy was put into each respective attack. But the more they struggled, the more energy they lost in the process. After 7 minutes, they were still evenly matched, but Gohan was starting to fade. His attack was slowly being pushed back down to Equestria. He could hear his foe laughing, and he did his best to tune it out. The half-Saiyan was losing energy and needed to find a way to turn the tide, but it didn't seem like there was any way he could continue. Up in the sky, Bro was showing no signs of getting tired.
Come on, don't tell me you're too weak to fight anymore.
Unfortunately, Gohan was too weak. He just didn't think he had it in him to win. Tears came to his eyes as he struggled to survive. I'm sorry, every pony. I just can't do this. Gohan! Upon hearing the familiar voice in his head, the young warrior's eyes went wide.
Dad? You can't give up, son. The universe is counting on you. But Dad, I can't get going. I'm too weak, and Broly's so strong. Even my hidden power is enough to stop him,
he exclaimed. Broly could hear his opponent talking, but didn't know who he was talking to.
He must have gotten insane from fear,
he laughed.
Gohan, you have to stop doubting yourself. You have all the power you need to win. Just remember all the people you're trying to save. Think about your friends, about Equestria. Now just think about what will happen if you let that monster win.
Once again, the young warrior's eyes went wide. He knew that if he failed, Equestria would be destroyed, but it wouldn't stop there. Once the crisis was gone, Broly would just move on to other planets, and with no one to stop him, he would destroy entire solar systems. Well, Gohan wouldn't let that happen. The monster had already destroyed all of Manhattan, killing a lot of the opponents who were in the city. Then he blew up Flush's cottage along with several other buildings, and throughout all the destruction, the evil Saiyan laughed, enjoying the torment he was bringing to the peaceful planet. A huge surge of rage began flowing through the half-Saiyan, much like what happened at the cottage. He vowed to make the monster pay for everything he had done. It was soon that Gohan unleashed all the power he had left inside, and now his Kamehameha was pushing back the green energy sphere. The legendary Saiyan's covenant was now starting to fade. A few seconds prior, he was on the verge of victory, but now he was starting to lose. He wasn't sure how or why his enemy was winning, but he didn't have time to wonder. And now he's struggling just to push the Kamehameha wave back. As much as he tried to push back, he couldn't, and a few seconds later, he was swallowed whole by the beam. He screamed as his power was engulfed by the beam, making every part of his body start disintegrating. And when the energy wave vanished, so too did Broly. Gohan couldn't sense anymore. He had won the battle. A small smile came onto his face as the fact that he had won. Then a moment later, he went back into his base form and fell backwards on the ground. His body was bloody and bruised, and all his muscles were feeling sore. Yet, even though he was injured, he couldn't help but chuckle.
Thanks, Dad. Soon after, his friends, Celeste and Loon appeared next to him. All of them happy that the battle was over. Woohoo! Piggy shouted. She started bouncing around and blowing confetti everywhere. Gohan, you did it! Twilight congratulated. The half-saint couldn't really answer due to his heavy breathing. Yes, well done, Gohan. We can't thank you enough, Prince Celeste toned with pride evident in her voice. The rest of the main six walked over to him and made sure he was okay. Gosh, you sure took one heck of a beating, Applejack noted. Are you going to be alright, dear? The Maid Mary questioned. Yeah, I'll be fine, he panted. Rainbow smirked, smoking like a true warrior. Gohan and Sam looked at every pony, and they were all smiling at him. Except for Fluttershy. She still looked upset. He stood up slowly and walked towards her. Fluttershy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I couldn't save your cottage or the animals inside. I hope you can forgive me. She looked at him and tears came to her eyes. The sharp pony didn't leave him and hugged him. It's okay, Gohan. It wasn't your fault, the mayor said softly. He put his arms around her and returned the embrace. It is my fault. If I acted sooner, I could have saved your home and your animals. Well, the shy mare sniveled. At least you're safe. That's all that matters to me. The sad moment was interrupted by Looney clearing her throat. Once again, you have saved Equestria. We are all in your debt. She toned with a big smile. Every pony nodded. Yeah, that was awesome. The way your engine attack beat him was incredible. The Rainbow Mane pony exclaimed. The young saint was about to say something, but he once again fell to the ground. The ponies just shook their heads and brought him to the hospital once again. From the other ward, Goku had felt Broly's ki, and he began panicking. Daisy King Kai was able to see what was going on, and he was glad to know that someone was on the case. He would watch with pride as someone head to head with the legendary Saiyan. Goku hadn't expected Broly's power to have increased by so much, but luckily his son was able to once again unleash his hidden power. Once that happened, the two worlds went at it again, and they were dead even. Goku's fear came back when Broly decided to try and blow up the planet. He could tell his son was scared, so he communicated with him like he had done with Cell. Thanks to his words of encouragement, his son defeated he was saying. Goku, that boy just shows a chip up your block, Kai commented. Yeah, Saiyan smiled. Gohan, I'm really proud of you. First you defeated Cell, and then Bojack, and now Broly. I wish I could be there with you. You've done such a great job keeping the universe safe, just like I used to do. You've become like your old man every day, and I know you turn into a great warrior. I'll see you again, my son, someday. Spike had just woken up from his nap, feeling very refreshed. A couple of hours ago, his friends tried to get him to come outside and relax with them, but he declined. The small dragon wanted to rest, and that is what he did. He rubbed his eyes as he left his bed and headed outside. He opened the door and looked around and saw lots of debris, points clearing up, and a few crates in the ground. What did I miss? Again, a lot. Well, there you have it. Wasn't this chapter better than what it was before? The original ending was everybody except Twilight dying. It was supposed to be a sad ending, but I think it just pissed people off. Correction, it did piss people off. Don't worry though, the next and final chapter will hopefully be sadder. This was the only chapter that wasn't new but completely redone. Stay tuned for more and have a good one. Future Shock.